from all, to all, with all, for all, through all. We thank the gods of creation. We thank the ancestors. We thank the forces of nature. And we thank the earth. We thank them for their direction, their protection, their guidance, for keeping us, showing us, allowing us to know and enjoy life to its fullest, now and later.
Black people who once loved with the slow march of time. Time was ours to hold in the soft, love-born chambers of our hearts. And once we, the Afro mommies and daddies of a sun world, would turn our strands of hair into antennas to tune in the juju madness and syncopated love rhythms of Africa. And we loved with time, and we took the time to love, and with the right time we loved, and we loved time after time. Will we ever love again? Will we ever love again? Will we really ever love again? Or will we just sit and rot away with the brighter tomorrows in the skag field, rat-cluttered halls of our minds?
Black people, what y'all gonna do? Black people, what y'all gonna do?
Will the real black people please stand up?
Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us facing.
Jumbo Habari, and welcome once again to Our Story, the program that makes being black positive, relevant, desirable, and true to a lost nation in America. A program that speaks to the historical significance of the original people of the earth. Our Story Network takes pride in setting itself away from other programs that centers on entertainment or rhetorical mumbo-jumbo that misdirects your attention onto other things that causes you to exhaust your resources and renders you brain dead. It is Our Story who talks about commitment to you and your people. It is Our Story that champions the reestablishment of the black genius that once ruled the world. It is Our Story that focuses you in on the rewards of black advocacy, black activism, black involvement, and black power. It is Our Story that encourages survival of the black race and solicits your involvement to that end. Remember, race first is the call of the day, and we as a people must, I say must, take the pledge if we, the people of the original race, expect to survive. As I take the many lessons I have received over the years and reflect upon them by sharing these lessons with my brothers and sisters, I realize the power that we as a people possess for the most part has gone unnoticed. The masses of black folk who have been rendered lost and disenfranchised from the meaning and mission our creators intended for us to embrace is all but depleted. It is because of the mission and meaning of the life of our ancestors that I realize how blessed as black people we really are. What fascinates me are the many gifts I have been granted, which allows me to distribute the information onward to you. As always, that message begins and ends with the importance of blackness. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Greetings, friends, comrades, family, the inquisitive onlookers, and our beloved viewers. Welcome, welcome, and welcome to Our Story Network. We thank you for being with us this evening, and we trust you will take something of value away with you tonight. That is the aim and goal of Our Story Network, the network that leads the pack in modern day communications and ancient and modern education. I say ancient and modern education because of the many errors we have found in the descriptions and interpretations of ancient records. The modern revelations by new black scholars have opened the window of discovery that has allowed the truth of knowledge originally disseminated by the masters of education to flourish once again. The unfortunate part to all of this is the fact that many educators, both black and white, ignore the work of scholars who place light on the incorrect information that has been disseminated as truth since Europeans have controlled the world. The only way to right the wrong that has been done to the original people of the earth is for the original people of the earth to stand and rebuke the falsehoods and incorrect information purposefully placed in the halls of knowledge to enslave the original people of the earth. As a part of setting the record straight, I invite our community to become involved and active in the movement of salvation. Whether you are religious or non-religious, salvation for the black man can only be in the activism and advocacy placed before us by those who walk this path before us. I call them my ancestors. You might call them your heroes and sheroes. No matter what they are called, they are still our foundation. A point I will get back momentarily. But for brothers and sisters who watch our story regularly, I want to say thank you. Many of you let me know during Jazz Fest how much you enjoy our story's presentations. And as I said to them, our story is here because you care and because you appreciate the struggle and sacrifices made by the few for the many. Thank you for letting me know how much you like our story and the information our story shares with the people of New Orleans. For additional information, our story can now be seen on YouTube at Our Story TV show. Additionally, older shows can be seen on vimeo.com/Our Story. Either way, Our Story is just a click away for you and your friends to see what all of the talk is about. I mention this because of the redirecting of attitudes and thinking of today's white population. If I were not familiar with history, I would not realize how relative today's white thinking and behaviors are mirroring the thinking and attitudes of pre-Civil War whites. Most certainly, white attitudes and behaviors are mimicking the Jim Crow era, an era where black folks had a place and whites let blacks know that place every day. I blame black folks for this retreat. Our black youth believe all that mess about slavery was in the past, and the past will never visit the present. Well, that goes to show you how blind our youth are today. Racism affects the black youth every day, and the black youth have no clue what is going on. The reasons for this is because black youth believe we are free. They believe slavery is over and now it is time to party. On the same hand, many of our so-called leaders have walked us down integration lane, where the dream has become reality, but someone forgot to tell white people. These two principles are blocking further progress and clouding today's reality. If we are not careful, black folks will wind up with the biggest failed revolt America has ever seen. Now, what does that mean for us? This means the short-lived freedoms some blacks believe we have will be all reversed and plantations will once again prevail. This is already evident with our prison system. Unemployment, housing, financial opportunities all point to another time and place for black folks. And that place is prison. Wake up, black people, wake up. Now back to the earlier point. Black folks have become too complacent when it comes to actions taken against black people in general. When I refer to a few who fight for the many, I am referring to the black people who make sacrifices by standing up for the wrongs done to them. Case in point, Anthony Brown has run for office here in New Orleans. Not because Anthony Brown has aspirations of being a politician. No, because Anthony Brown wants to right the wrongs of the political landscape that has evolved for black people. Remember, we the people in the Constitution does not mean it does not mean it includes black people. The Constitution represents law, and law is based upon intent. The so-called forefathers never intended for black people to be included in the Constitution of the United States. What we have is a Mexican standoff. America wants black people to believe they are now included in the protections, rights, privileges, and authority of the Constitution that includes black people as cattle and chattel. This is why I say the civil rights fight is not over. And Anthony Brown brings this message to black people loud and clear. Anthony's approach is to use the system at face value and cause the system to defend itself from the double talk the system places in the path of electoral politics. What Anthony brings to the table is facts and the law, as white people have assigned these two principles in the democratic process. This ultimately places the system and the Constitution on a course of defending itself and defending the rationale given for needing such a system. Tonight, Anthony Brown will introduce a policy and a law that should make people of all races stand up and be counted. Brother Anthony, it is again my pleasure to welcome you to our story for what I believe is an awakening of the deaf, dumb, and blind. Brother Anthony, welcome to our story, and what brings you here with us this evening?
Oh man, thank you for having me, for giving me this platform once again to talk to the people of New Orleans. It's always a pleasure when we can speak to our brothers and sisters, not only in New Orleans or the territory of Louisiana, but all over the diaspora, because knowledge is fundamental. You know, having the knowledge is fundamental, and having the knowledge and not utilizing the knowledge for the upward mobility of people is nonsensical. Here today, my brother, we we come to the table as the newly appointed chairperson or chairman of the recall committee for Erroll Williams, the person who is calling himself the tax assessor of Orleans Parish. Now, for those of you who don't know, and surprisingly, my brother, there's for the past couple of weeks, I've been out in the street, in the community, talking to people about Erroll Williams. And by mentioning, for some people, just mentioning the name Erroll Williams, they know exactly who I'm talking about and the issue that faces us as a community. And for some, they don't know who Erroll Williams is, nor do they know of his professional portfolio being a tax assessor. And it is my honor and duty to spit some information as it regards to Mr. Erroll Williams and his official capacity as the Orleans Parish tax assessor. Now, my brother, you mentioned in your mantra the Constitution, and I think that's where I'm going to be picking up this presentation from. As you know, I always walk with the gospel, or a copy of the gospel, as I choose to call it, the Louisiana Constitution. Right. You know, just so for your viewing audience, so everybody catch it. But this document right here, my brother, as you rightfully said, was created at the time by we the people. Now, we here are black conscious, not black ignorant. But for this purpose, we will use the term we as if it includes us. This document, the Constitution, was created by we the people. For who? For them. Who is them? The politician. When we create this document, the Constitution, we create for that group of people who we call government. Government are a group of people who we elect to public office to serve our will and our intent, to serve us, to do what we the people choose not to do, because we as a people, we think that, look, we need to relax, take care of our family, participate, just enjoy life. But there's certain aspect of livelihood that we want to make certain that is run in a professional manner. So we create this entity, we call this entity government. We create these group of people, we call them elected official or politician. And then we create this document, the Constitution, by which this document supposed to, in its origin and its intent, to bind the hands of these elected officials over here that we call politicians. Now, this is their Bible. This is their Bible. So that when they open this Bible, which is a Constitution, and they look, for argument's sake, in the first document, as it relates to the Louisiana Constitution, Article 1, they're going to see Article 1, Declaration of Rights. That article going to tell them that, look, while you out there operating in your official capacity, there are certain fundamental rights that we the people ain't giving up. And we the people want to ensure that you are fully aware that you ain't gonna trample over, or you ain't gonna deny us. That's why we have this document. And this is the foundation on which we lay our case, the Louisiana Constitution, and to a greater extent, the United States Constitution too. But being that we are focusing our energy and time right now on a local elected official, Erroll Williams, the Orleans Parish tax assessor, we're gonna keep it solely to the Louisiana Constitution. Here we have, in the territory of New Orleans, Louisiana, this person, Erroll Williams. For the past 30 years, a matter of fact, just over 30 years, 33 years, been collecting a salary from the people of New Orleans to perform a duty that we the people elected him to do. And he have failed us. He have not only failed us, but he have committed malfeasance in office. One of the requirements, according to the Louisiana Constitution, Article 10 of the Louisiana Constitution, and Mr. Williams have two prerequisites. That means there's certain duties or certain requirements that must be met by Mr. Williams before he commences any duty as the Orleans Parish Tax Assessor. Now, family, that's really key and important. We are not here in no way, shape, or form preaching or teaching law. So for all of you scholars out there who say Anthony Brown is preaching law, no. What I'm saying is that for my brothers and sisters out there, get a copy of this document, the Constitution. And if you read from this document and somebody want to interpret it as preaching law, that's on their merit, or that's their argument to prove. But here we have Article 10 of the Constitution, who tell Mr. Williams that there is basically two prerequisites that must be met. The first one, you're going to be taking an oath of office. The second one, after taking your oath of office, according to the law, you're going to then provide bond. Now, what is a bond? Again, it's a prerequisite. You can think of a bond as an insurance policy. That's what a bond is, typically, for the layperson. A bond for Erroll G. Williams is an insurance policy for you before you operate your automobile. That's what a bond is. And just like how members of the NOPD will stop you and harass you and chastise you for not having your insurance, it's the same application as it is with Article 10 of the Constitution. Here we have a public official, Mr. Erroll G. Williams, who there is a requirement for him to possess bond or to have bond, so that should in case he tends to or he cause harm to anyone in his official capacity as the Orleans Parish Tax Assessor, the persons or person who he cause harm to can go and trigger that bond or can make a claim against that bond. I personally did a check for Mr. Erroll G. Williams' bond, and there is no such bond on file. I then went and did a public request. I met with, at the time, before she was elected to the 4th Circuit Court of Appeal, Dale Atkins, and our second in command, as it relates to having them verifying the fact that Erroll G. Williams have a bond, and they could not present me with a bond. They could not find any bond for Erroll G. Williams, neither. And bear in mind, based on the law, the Constitution, that bond must be presented on demand. And that bond, a matter of fact, when I went to Dale Atkins at the time, Dale Atkins is the custodian of the bonds for the elected official here in the territory of New Orleans. So, on that premise alone, what am I saying here to you, family? We are saying that we are law-abiding people. We believe in the rule of law. We believe
in the Constitution for its intent and purpose as it relates to them, the elected officials. And when we, the people, recognize that we have elected officials, politicians, who refuse from honoring or from abiding by the law, we, the people, now have a problem. And we, the people, must stand. We, the people, must show ourselves or show the authority that we possess as the bosses, because that's what we are bosses. They came to us on the hands and knees and they said, look, they show us the resume. They spread the resume out on the table and they say, look, I am qualified to do this job. If you appoint me to the assessor, to the mayor, whatever position it is, I'm going to do the best job ever. And here it is in a Erroll G. Williams is not abiding by the law. That's just one.
Let me ask you a question about that. If he does not have a bond and is required to have a bond, isn't it incumbent upon the Attorney General to investigate and prosecute?
Well, my brother, as we was alluding to before we actually start this segment, what we have here is a lack of check and balances.
Yeah.
Nobody checking the system. What we call a government, I choose to call organized crime. There's nobody checking nobody. There's no check and balance. You have one elected official at one level commit some atrocity, and you would think, as fair-minded, honest person, that somebody in the next branch would check. No, they would cover up, deter, or lie, or just to keep that social tie with that person who commit that atrocity. Now, the key point to know, or to note, just on this one issue alone, if you go to an institution of indoctrination, okay, higher learning, as I call it, to become, let's say, an attorney, and you spend 3 years in this institution, but at the end of the 3 years, you didn't go and do that exam or sit the bar exam. Are you an attorney? Do you have the legal requirement to practice law? No, you don't, because there's still a requirement for you to go and sit for that exam. You see what I'm talking about? So what am I saying here? Where there is a requirement to be met, and the requirement have not been met, and someone in the, like a Erroll G. Williams, sit in the office as the Orleans Parish Tax Assessor, what does that mean? It means every single thing that Mr. Williams did as the Orleans Parish Tax Assessor is null and void of law.
Oh. So you mean all of these
33 years he's been in office.
33.
For all of these every single person that's hearing my voice and watching this program right now, you have a remedy. Where the prerequisite haven't been met. Look, this is the law, my brother. This is the Constitution. We read this, we study this, we dissect this. We go through this sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph. Section 28 of Article 10 of the Louisiana Constitution tells you failure to meet the prerequisite creates what? A vacancy in the office. So this guy here, and that's the reason why when people ask me, why you referring to him as, call himself, he's not the assessor. He's an imposter in office. He's referred to himself as the Orleans Parish Tax Assessor, one, because he recognized that for the most part, the people of New Orleans is ignorant of the fact. And that is his crony friends ain't gonna call him out because they are doing the same thing. You see what I'm talking about? A thief ain't gonna tell a next thief, man, you're a thief, man. No, because he's a thief as well. You see I'm talking about? A rapist ain't going to call it a rapist because he's a rapist as well. You see I'm talking about? Here we have Mr. Erroll G. Look, we spend our hard-earned money, my brother. And we make certain that we did due diligence. We did our homework. Understand this, and this is key for everybody to understand. We are here in our capacity as one of the people of New Orleans. We are here in our capacity as a boss, as one of the electorate. We employ people. We employ Erroll G. Williams. We employ Dale Atkins. We employ John Bell Edwards. We employ these people. They're our employees. We don't employ them for them to fail. Or we don't employ them so we can talk smack about them or drag their name to the dirt, to the mud. No. We want to see our employees succeed. So we create a lavish retirement fund for them. We create a means so that they can take care of the family. You see what I'm saying? It's not our duty to talk negative about them. So understand that concept. We are speaking because our employees are not fulfilling the contract. They are not fulfilling the agreement. We went and we spent our hard-earned money, contacted the Secretary of State, and we got from the Secretary of State what is known as an oath of office. An oath of office for our employee Erroll G. Williams. My brothers and sisters, this is what an oath of office look like. This is the oath of office for Erroll G. Williams. Okay? Now, Erroll G. Williams, this is one of the requirements that must be met. So we know for a fact that this requirement has been met by Erroll G. Williams. So thus far we are saying, okay, he came to us, say he wanted a job, we give him a job, we give him the Constitution, he know that there's certain prerequisite, and so far he's looking like he's a champion, he's a good employee. Okay, he have his oath of office. We see that. Now, a key point to note, on his oath of office, let me read this for your audience real quick. At the bottom of the oath of office, line 2, well, the top of the oath of office for John public to see. Look, this is public record. Again, you can spend a few dollars and get a copy of this of any single public elected official. Here's what our employee said to us. The state of Louisiana, parish of Orleans, I, Erroll G. Williams, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state, that I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duty, perform all the duties incumbent upon me as the assessor Orleans Parish. And here we have Erroll G. Williams' signature. Now let's go down to line 2, which is, look, line 2 is bold in black for the blind to see. Well, let's go to line 2. This is what number 2 says. Failure to comply with the above requirement creates a vacancy in the office, which shall be filled in accordance with law. In accordance with law, as in other case of vacancy. That's 2. What they're talking about. Let's go to 1. Each public official within 30 days, this is the law, this is the Constitution, within 30 days after receipt of their commission, of his commission, or within 30 days after receipt of his commission certificate. So for the new members that was just swearing a few days ago, I hope you guys listening to this. Anthony Brown is on the job. Whichever is later shall take the oath of office prescribed by law, comma. That's the first prerequisite. Give bond, comma. This is Erroll G. Williams' oath of office I'm reading. You're going to tell me Erroll G. Williams signed this oath of office and don't read this document? We ain't stupid. We employed. We smarter than them. Comma. when required. No, that's key. Here it says right here, when required. What does that mean? That tells us the prerequisite says two things. It says one, you must take it out of office. We recognize that Erroll G. Williams, because we got from the, we see it's Secretary of State seal of approval. He signed it. So we recognize that he did the first prerequisite. Secondly, it says give bond. But then thereafter it says when required and file the same in a proper office. So we think to ourselves, it's a when required. So okay, maybe there are certain people who are supposed to give bond and there are certain people who are not supposed to give bond. That's what it says. When required. So we went ahead and did some more homework because we want to make certain that the person who we hire to do our work, because that's what he is an employee. Not one single politician here in the territory of New Orleans is special. They ain't special. They're doing what we tell them to do. We are the ones who are special and supposed to be all in high esteem. When you see, when Mr. Williams see me, he's supposed to address me as Mr. Brown, or sir, or boss. Yeah, I can call him. I can say, hey, Erroll, come here if I want to. Not with any kind of disrespect. But no, because I'm the boss, I'm the daddy. I'm the one who give him a job so he can take care of his wife and his daughters and buy, brag about his high mansion house. You see what I'm saying? I'm the boss. Recognize that. So we went ahead as the boss and we did some more investigation to see if there was a requirement for Erroll G. Williams to give bond. Now look, I ain't gonna go through all of this right now, my brother. We don't have the time. But take my word for it, I got their own homework. When we went through the documents, when we checked what you call the revised statute, a matter of fact, when we check the revised statute, just to show my brothers and sisters that, look, again, we are here because we are the bosses talking about one of our employers. The revised statute is what I choose to call, look, I'm no attorney, I'm no lawyer or attorney. I'm not a member of the Bar Association. So I utilize word and phrase that suits me or that assists me into explaining what I'm talking about. The Constitution is the law of the land. It's not ambiguous, meaning it doesn't, once you read it, the average person can read the Constitution and understand its language because its language is simple and clear. Now what they do, they go and they create these other, what I choose to call watered down documents, like the revised statute. They call it legislative enactment. Okay, the legislative enactment. That, so they can refer to it in a more easier and a quicker point. Here we have in their own revised statute, my brother, the Title 42, semicolon 141, bond, time limitation and out of office, and bond, failure to comply. Okay? Let me quote that statute again so my brothers and sisters out there can look. I'm not going to read everything. You need to go to do some research yourself. You go and find the revised. You can either go, look, you can either go 400 Royal Street on the second floor, where we have, you call it the Law Library. It's a humongous floor.
State Supreme Court building.
Right. You can go there. You can do some research, ask for the revised statute, and you can get it. As a matter of fact, you can even go on YouTube too and Google this. I think it's on YouTube.
I think it's so, yeah.
Everything's on YouTube right now, my brother. You go and you read. You read 141 revised statute 42, 141 that deals with the time limitation. So, as we read a while ago in Mr. Williams' oath of office, there's a time limitation which the revised statute confirmed. 184, acceptance of bond. This tell you where and who's supposed to have the bond. So Mr. Williams, let me read it for my brothers and sisters, man, real quick. acceptance of bond. The bond of public officers shall be accepted by the parish recorder. Who is that? The clerk of district court, comma, and the parish and the president of the police jury. Now, in the territory of New Orleans, we do have an armed police jury. Places like Ascension Parish and other places have police jury. Or any two of them. In absence of the third, within 30 days from the date of his commission, and before entering upon his duty. That's a key factor. As I said to my brother, what does this say? And before entering upon his duty. So how can you have the person who is calling himself the Orleans Parish Tax Assessor performing a duty as the Orleans Parish Tax Assessor, and look, this is just one element, you know, and don't fulfill the requirement? It's the law. You see what I'm talking about? Okay. For those of you, because look, I've spoken to some scholars. I've spoken to some brilliant guys who call themselves attorneys and tell me how much years a law school them have and how long they practicing law. And I said to you, more power. More power to you. I'm not impressed that you go to law school and you remember the bar degree. What I have is common sense. What my God gave me. That's what I use every day. Common sense and critical thinking. And I go back to your own document. Here we are, my brothers and sisters, for all of you legal scholars out there. The Louisiana Revised Statute, Title 42, semicolon 182, officers to whom not applicable. Should I read it again? Officers to whom not applicable. The provision of Revised Statute 42, 181 shall not apply to the state treasury, comma, that's one person. The state auditor, that's two persons. Let's count. Parish recorders, 3, it's an old group of people, parish recorders, and clerks of the district court, 4. Where did it say anything about the tax assessor? Look, my brothers and sisters, look.
So what you have raised is an interesting situation, because as the assessor, his job is to come out and assess property. He is the one that raises our property taxes, and he's the one that assists in property being sold for failure to pay your taxes. So if we go back 33 years, how many assessments have been assessed on us, and how many people have lost property because they didn't pay their taxes, when we have an assessor in office who apparently seems to be illegal?
Well, my brother, let me answer this question, man. I'm having too much fun right now, man. I'm having too much fun with this right now. Let me answer this one question, because based on the question that you asked, that whole premise is false. It's misleading. It's a lie. People have been bamboozled for the past 33 years here in New Orleans. People have been lied to. People have been robbed. Just on this one issue alone, where the requirement to take office, the prerequisite, haven't been met, that means everything that he did for the past 33 years is none and void of law. Meaning it's wrong. Meaning it don't mean crap. Meaning you can go back and you can sue him and sue anybody else for your property, because he's an imposter. You know what an imposter is? An imposter is a person who is acting in the capacity of another person without due authorization. That's who Mr. Erroll G. Williams is. He's an imposter. Let's go to your question. The premise that Erroll G. Williams assess people taxes is false, is lie, is downright deceiving. It's not true. Again, my brothers and sisters, look, I would advise everybody to get a copy of this. My argument is twofold. Listen, my argument is twofold. I'm coming to you from the point of view that I have a substantive right, I have a human right to acquire a roof over my head, to provide shelter not only for myself but for my family. I have a God-given right. When I was born a man, and when my God created me, He said, "Go out in the wilderness. There's food for you. Make yourself shelter." I got a natural right. Okay? I'm coming from that perspective. Secondly, I'm coming from the perspective of the Constitution with the knowledge and understand that the Constitution is not for me, wasn't for me, or for the average person. It's for them, the politician, the people who we call government. So when we alter this document, with instruction, so they should follow. And when they fail to follow this instruction, now we the people need to take a stand. Erroll G, look, there is this first and foremost. We are living in the temperate zone. We are living in North America, in the United States of America. We have the United States Constitution, and what I choose to refer to as who is your daddy. Now from who is your daddy come the offspring, the Louisiana Constitution. It was in 1812 that this territory became a part of the Union, right? We acknowledge that, okay, we're going to abide by the rules and by the Constitution, so we came and we create our own Constitution. And the Louisiana Constitution is basically an offspring of the United States Constitution, okay? The only difference in one document, the U.S. Constitution, we have what is known as amendments when it comes to the rights of the citizens, okay? In the territory of Louisiana, like in other territories, we have articles. Like we have in the Louisiana Constitution, we have Article 1 that deals or outlines our rights. Now, what are we saying? My rights don't come from this document. My rights come from my Creator, my God, right? However, we need to outline in this document, Article 1, telling them the function and the duty, right? And why we create this. Now here we have Erroll G. Williams. Is what he is doing, I've been doing for quite some time now. He's putting my property, your property, everybody out there property. The place you call your home, that place where you after all days you can go to. He's putting that piece of property and his avalarum tax roll. Again, for you brilliant scholars out there, brothers and sisters, go and check what avalarum is. I got it right here. I'm going to tell you right now.
Before you do that, because we have the fastest hour in television, I want to, if we could, and I'll have to bring you back because this is a whole lot of information that I believe the people need to hear so they can determine for themselves if they need to act on it.
Right.
But there's something that you're doing to bring all this to a head and explain to the people what you have going on and how you are addressing the inadequacies of the assessor's office and what you plan to see done with this.
Okay, as it is right now, I'm actually sitting as the chairperson for the committee to recall Erroll G. Williams. Again, we recognize our portfolio as one of the people, of one of the electorate, of the bosses, and we won't sit by the wayside and let political figures run a mockery of the system. So what we did, we came together, a group of us, and we organized ourselves. We formed a committee. I was appointed the chairman of the committee, and another brother, Kevin Matthews, was appointed the vice chair. And we get together and we get the documentation necessary to submit to the Secretary of the State to inform them about this process. So at this point, we receive the acknowledgement from the Secretary of the State. The Secretary of the State sent us an acknowledgement recognizing the committee, recognizing the recall process. So we are now in the process of gathering signatures from the people of New Orleans. Well, not everybody is authorized to sign this petition. Only if you are a registered voter. Now, according to the law, again, we are law-abiding people. We believe and respect the law. We need 33.1% of the total electorate to sign our petition. Based on our calculation, it's roughly around 85,000 signatures that we need. We are actually shooting for maybe close to 90,000, right? And we think that's, for us, it's not an uphill battle. For us, it's just going out into the community and organizing ourselves, talking to the people and get these signatures. Because believe me, my brother, when I tell you that, I cannot walk 10 feet without somebody telling me or giving me some story as it relates to Mr. Erroll G. Williams or the Orleans Parish tax assessor, and they're losing their property right now. We're creating the largest homeless population in territory of New Orleans. We have people living on the Claiborne Bridge just because of action of this guy right here, which we cut this string, pull him back in.
I'm going to bring you back, Brother Anthony, because this is vital information that needs to be aired. Our community needs to know this. I want to thank you for coming, and before we get out of here, I want to just talk a little bit about my book, called Our Story, the Original Holocaust, which is available now at Community Book Center, 2523 Bayou Road. It's available at Wayne's World and Sons, 2255 St. Claude Avenue, and also on the West Bank at Educators Delight, and that's at 3501 Holiday Drive, Suite 405. Now, this is a 401-page book that talks about a lot of things that have happened in my life, talks about some of the experience that I've had, and it also talks about a lot of the lies that we have been forced to accept as being the truth about black people and white people. We also talk about the consent decree for the NOPD that was here in New Orleans, and we also talk about the leadership, black leadership, and there are several references made to conversations that have been had in this city concerning black leadership that reveals the reason why we are in such straits that we're in, and we're having problems that we're having. So I would suggest that you get a copy and read about what is going on with black people in America, black people around the world, and a lot of the misnomers that we have for many years embraced as being the truth. Our Story, the Original Holocaust, is a book that I don't bite my tongue on, and it's one that will, especially with you history buffs out there, one that you will find extremely interesting. So, with that said, I want to also say to the brothers and sisters that I appreciate what you are doing, what you have done, and what you continue to do. And I appreciate the fact that whenever you see me, you let me know how you feel and what you're feeling, and sharing some of the things that you have as well. We have the fastest hour in television, and I want to remind you that on Mondays from 10 until 12, you can hear me on WBOK Radio, 1230 AM dial. Until we see you next Monday or next Wednesday, my number's available. Give me a call through the week, and let's stay in touch. Brothers and sisters, it's imperative that we as a people continue to fight. Stay strong, my brothers and sisters. Stay involved, but most importantly, stay committed to blackness. Uhuru Sasa Mgawa.
Yeah, when you put it in perspective, the collective, monuments erected, continents affected, presidents elected, ancestors making moves with the music we've been blessed with. We use it to keep communities connected. Through harmonies, a harmony is collected. Reaping the fruits our foremothers invested. Lift every voice till freedom has manifested. Come on, yeah, lift every voice till freedom has manifested. Come on, listen, lift every voice till freedom has manifested. Come on, come on, come on.
Sing a song,
Yeah, talk to
full of the faith that the dark past has taught us.
come on.
Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun
Facing the rising sun, come on.
of our new day begun.
It's a new day.
Let us march on
Yeah.
till victory is
Yeah,
won.
until victory is won, come on.
Till victory is
This is
won.
victory music. Come on, I hope you feel it.
Ba-ba-da-da, 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 ba-ba-da-da.